Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English. Friends, in this video I'll summarize a very interesting poem titled A Walk by Moonlight, and this poem is written by the famous Indian poet from Kolkata, that is Henry Louis Vivian Derozio. This poem is in the syllabus of third semester BBA General English under Bangalore North University, that's called BNU also. And here I will explain all the 20 stanzas. There are 20 stanzas in this poem. I'll explain each stanza line by line. And at the end of the poem, you will also come to know about the themes of this poem. That will be the very important question. So before we discuss, we know about the poet. The poet is from Kolkata at a very young age, a radical poet and famous person. He was also a headmaster in Hindu College, Kolkata. Henry Louis Vivian Derozio, A Walk by Moonlight. So about the poem, A Walk by Moonlight by Henry Louis Vivian Derozio is a deeply reflective and romantic poem that describes how a casual evening walk under the moonlight becomes a moment of spiritual awakening for the poet. It's written during the early 19th century. The poem captures the poet's love for nature, his philosophical curiosity, and his romantic temperament. Similar to the poets like Wordsworth and Shelley, the poet narrates how walking with friends on a moonlit night, he is suddenly moved by the serene beauty of nature. The moonlight, what happens that time? The moonlight, the rustling leaves, the gentle winds, making feel a divine presence in the world around him. Then, through this experience, Derozio, the poet, realizes the unity between human beings and nature. He feels that everything, the moon, stars, the wind, even the grass, is alive and shares a spiritual bond with the mankind. The poem expresses his belief in pantheism. That means to say, it's an idea, it's an idea that God or spirit exists in all things. That's called pantheism. And the poem celebrates a mystic connection between the natural and spiritual world. So that's a brief information about the poem A Walk by Moonlight by Derozio. Now, stanza wise, we will read the stanza, then we'll try to explain the stanza in simple words. Stanza number one. The poet says, Last night, one minute, yeah, last night it was a lovely night and I was very blessed. Shall it not be for memory a happy spot to rest? So, what does it mean? What does this stanza means? The poet begins by recalling a beautiful night from the past. He felt very happy and blessed that night because he believes that this memory will always be a confronting and very joyful memory. So that's why he called it as a kind of happy spot in his mind that he can return to whenever he wishes to feel the peace again. That kind of memories here, he can come back from this happy memory and he feels the memory as a happy spot and he can come back to this peaceful mind. So still he remembers that beautiful night from the past and he feels such night as the blessed and the happy night, right? Now further, the poet says, yes, there are in the backward past, soft hours to which we turn, hours which at distance mildly shine on but never burn. Right? So, what does the poet mean to say here? The poet says that when we look back at our lives, when we go back and reflect in the past, flashback, there are some gentle, peaceful moments that still shine in our memory. These moments give us warmth and happiness without causing any pain, without causing any kind of sadness. And these moments, they shine on, but they never burn. That means to say, such moments bring calm joy, but such moments never bring the regret. That's about the stanza number two. Further, the poet says, and some of these, but yesternight across my path were thrown, which made my heart so very light, I think it could have flown. Very interesting stanza. He says that one of those happy moments happened just last night. The beauty of the experience made his heart feel so light and joyful that he almost felt like he could fly. This shows his emotional this shows his emotional upliftment after being touched by the nature's beauty. The moment he became one with the nature, he starts feeling this kind of emotional upliftment, right? That particular night, yes, yester night, he says, I had been out to see a friend with whom I others saw. Like minds to like minds ever tend an universal law. The poet shares that he had gone to visit a friend where he met others also. He notes that people who think alike are naturally drawn to one another. It's a universal truth, means to say, people think that yes, we are like each other. I mean to say, we are like each other, we have quite common feelings. So it's quite very much natural. So that's a universal truth. So this line shows the joy I'm sorry. This line shows the joy of companionship and the intellectual connection. So sometimes you would have seen that your friend also thinks the same thing. You also think. So means to say your thinkings are same, your intellectuals are same, your feelings are in the emotions are quite similar. Then he says, and when we were returning home, I said, come, who will walk with me a little way? I straight was joined by three. On his way home, the poet invites anyone who would like to join him for a short walk. Three of his friends agree to come along. This is going to setting a scene for the moonlit walk that inspires his reflections. So now they have started walking. Three, whom I loved, two had high thoughts and were in age my peers, and one was young, but oh, endeared as much as youth endears. So the poet Derozio describes his companions with affection. Two were his own age, they were sharing deep, thoughtful minds. The third one was younger to him, but still very much dear to him, and also loved the freshness and the innocence that the youth brings. That means they all three were enjoying that moonlit walk in the evening. The moon stood silent in the sky and looked upon a earth, the clouds divided passing by, in homage to her worth. The poet describes the peaceful and majestic scene. The moon shines quietly in the night sky. The clouds seem to move aside respectfully, as if bowing down to her. The moon is personified here as a queenly or divine presence which has a kind of purity, radiating purity. Then there was a dance among the leaves, rejoicing at a power who ropes for them of silver weaves within one mystic hour. Under the moonlight, the leaves appear to dance. See, this is nature. The leaf starts dancing as if celebrating the moon's light and power. The moonlight covers the leaves with a silvery glow as though the moon is weaving magical silver ropes for them. So, this imagery shows how nature comes alive at night. Then the poet says, there was a song among the winds, hymning her influence. that low-breathed ministrily, minstrelsy, which binds the soul to thought intense. The wind, so far we have seen the leaves, now the wind. The wind seems to sing softly. It seems that the wind is singing softly as if the wind is praising the moon's beauty and influence. So, this gentle music of nature inspires deep thoughts in the human being, in the human souls. Derozio, the poet, suggests that nature has a language of its own that awakens emotion and reflection. And there was something in the night that, with its magic, wound us, for we not only saw but felt the moonlight around us. The poet and his friends feel surrounded by a magical atmosphere. They are not just seeing the moonlight, they are feeling it deeply within their hearts. It's a mystical experience that touches their spirits and fills them with wonder. How vague are all the mysteries which bind us to our earth? How far they send into the heart the tones of holy mirth? So, the poet is wondering about the mysteries of nature which are connecting us to the earth. These mysteries touch our hearts with a sense of holy joy. Holy mirth means a kind of holy joy. He feels that nature communicates with the soul in a language, and this language is always beyond the words. That's why we call it as a kind of a holy joy, a kind of spiritual joy. You're feeling a very spiritual when you are in connection with the nature under this moonlight. How lovely are the pantheons dim, which bless that better sight that man enjoys when proud he stands in his own spirit's light. Here, pantheons dim here refers to the spiritual vision or the unseen forces of nature. The poet says that when a person becomes spiritually awakened, when he stands in his own spirit's light, he can perceive these subtle beauties that ordinary eyes cannot see. Means to say, when you are in connection with the nature, you start seeing the nature from the spiritual eyes, from the spiritual visions, and that makes you feel that yes, you are looking at such a beauty which your eyes cannot see, but your inner conscience can easily feel it. That's called spirit's light. Now, when like a thing that is not ours, that this earthiness goes by, and we behold the spiritualness of all that cannot die. So when our attachment to the material world, earthliness means to say the materialistic world, when our attachment with this world fades away, we begin to see the eternal spirit that lives in everything. Means to say, when you don't have the attachment to this world, what do we start seeing? We start finding out some sort of shashwat, some sort of universal things, and we start finding lives, peacefulness everywhere. The poet feels that beyond the physical world, there's a deeper immortal beauty that is called the spiritual essence of all life. So here we are finding some sort of philosophical and the spiritual essence of life here. Now, further the poet says that it is when then we understand the voice which in the night wind sings and feel the mystic melody played on the forest strings. In this awakened state, one can hear the hidden voice of nature, the night wind, forest, as if they're playing music. That's called mystic melody. The poet is personifying nature here as a living musician who is communicating the divine message to human hearts. So the poet says that in this particular stage, one we can easily hear the voice of nature which is hidden, which seems that who is singing? The wind and the forest. They are playing such kind of music. So here, the nature is personified here, just like a musician. The nature is creating such a music which is giving a kind of message, a kind of peacefulness to the human hearts. Strings means music. The silken language of the stars becomes a tongue we speak, and then we read the sympathy that pales a young moon's cheek. When humans reach this state of harmony with nature, they begin to understand the language of the stars, the silent communication between the celestial beings and the human souls. The poet feels so connected that he can even sense the emotions of the moon, whose pale light reflects sympathy and tenderness. So what I'll see here, so when a man, or I mean to say when a human being gets absolutely one with the nature, the humans will start understanding the language of the stars which could be seen in this moonlit sky. Then the person will understand the emotions of the moon. The person will be able to understand that how the lights, the rays from the moonlight, what does it show? What kind of sympathy and the tenderness such kind of light brings. So the language of the stars could be understood by the human being when a human being is in harmony with nature. Nature. Then the inward eyes open then to glories which in dreams visit the sleeper's couch in robes woven of rainbow's beams. Here, the poet refers to the inward eye. Inward eye is also a phrase used by William Wordsworth. That means imagination, spiritual vision. So when the inner eye opens, we can see the hidden beauties of the world, the same wonders that appears in dreams. Something like what kind of wonders in dreams? What clothed in rainbow-like colors of imagination. Means to say you could start imagining the things where you can find all the colors, rainbow colored imaginations, right? That's called here inward eye, your spiritual imagination, your spiritual vision. Too much philosophy. I bless my nature that I am a light to all the bliss which other worlds we are told afford, but which I find in this. The poet thanks his own nature, his own sensitivity for being able to experience so much happiness on earth. He says that I'm very much thankful to my nature, I mean to say my own sensitivity, that today I'm able to understand this nature and I'm able to derive the happiness on this earth. While people say that heaven or other worlds offer true joy, Derozio feels that the same divine bliss can be found here on earth in nature. He says that generally people say that you will get joy, happiness when you go to heaven. He says no need to go to heaven. You will get all such kind of divine bliss, Ashirwad, etc. Even in on the earth only, where when you are in association with the nature, Prakriti. My heart is bettered when I feel that even this human heart to all around is gently bound and forms of all apart. His heart becomes purer and nobler when he feels connected to everything around him. He realizes that the human heart is linked with all living and non living things. That is a part of one great chain of life. As I'm telling you that it has only one sense, a sense of the whole poem, that you become one with the nature, right? Then only you'll feel that cold and lifeless as they seem, the flowers, the stars, the sky have more than common minds may deem to stir our sympathy. Although the things like flowers, stars, and the sky may appear lifeless to ordinary people, but the poet feels that they are alive, they are capable of stirring human sympathy. They possesses, they possess spiritual life that only sensitive souls can feel. That's what he would like to convey here. And finally, the concluding stanza. In the concluding remark, the poet says, "Oh, in such moments can I crush the grass beneath my feet? Oh, no. The grass has then a voice, its heart. I hear it beat." Very interesting stanza. So, in the final stanza, the poet concludes saying that when he's in such a spiritually awakened mood, he cannot step, he cannot even step on the grass. Even he doesn't like to move on the grass because he feels that the grass is also alive. The grass has also a heart that beats like human beings' heart. So this powerful image shows his deep empathy and unity with the nature. That's the highest form of spiritual awareness. Very, very interesting, fantastic stanza, the concluding remark by the poet Derozio in the poem Walk by Moonlight. So, which are the themes we find here? We find here six important themes. Very important question after this poem. First theme we find here, love for nature. The poem celebrates the beauty and the calm of nature, especially under the moonlight. Second, spiritual awakening. The poet experiences a deep spiritual realization that nature has a divine presence. Third, unity of man and nature. Derozio feels that humans and all elements of nature are spiritually connected. Mystery of the universe. The poet reflects on the hidden, mysterious forces that make nature so enchanting. Sensitivity and sympathy. He feels compassion for even the smallest form of life, like grass, stars, and flowers. And finally, romantic imagination. The poet is Derozio. The poet is influenced by romantic poets like Wordsworth, and he's using the imagination and emotion to feel nature's soul. So these are the important themes which I had derived from this poem. So let's conclude the poem. So hence the poem, in this poem, A Walk by Moonlight, Derozio, the poet, uses a simple evening walk to express a mystical experience of unity with nature. The moonlight awakens his inner vision, helping him see the spiritual connection between humans and the natural world. So the poem celebrates the beauty and harmony of nature, the spiritual bond between all living things, the awakening of the human soul through deep perception. So this is about the poem A Walk by Moonlight by Derozio, and this is in the syllabus of the third semester BBA General English under BNU. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you like this video. The explanation for more videos, please do look into the playlist. The playlist has all the videos links. So any questions, you can contact me at this email ID given, mukeshenglish@gmail.com. Thank you. Subscribe the channel if you have not yet done it. So thank you for being connected with only Mukesh English.